Hi, welcome to Brainybuzz. This is Premvada and we are going through the JavaScript tutorials. So far we have seen the data types and the variables and some of the operators. So today we are going to look into the conditional statements. We have seen one of the conditional operators, that is with the question mark and colon. So now we'll see for the if else. This is the most famous conditions that you will see in most of the languages like .NET, C or Java or any other language that you will be using. And these conditions or these if else statements you will be using most of the time in your projects. So let's see what is the if statement. If a statement will execute the command only if the condition is true. That is, supposingly if you write over here as if A is 10 and B is 5, and if you write as if A is greater than B, that means only if this condition is true, that is the condition between the brackets. If the condition is true, then you can write it as then your statements will execute, otherwise nothing will be executed in the if statement. So let's see that in the demo. So like here I have created a normal HTML page, that is the conditions.html, and this time I have written the script tag in the body tag. So let's see. I'll take the variable as a equal to 9 and your b equal to 6. So let's see if I write as if and then a is greater than b, then only your document dot write, you will write as a is greater than b. So if your a is greater than b, then only it will be executed. So let's just save it and run your page. So now you can see that a is greater than b because your a is actually greater than b. But if you write it as b greater than a and save it and you refresh it, you won't see anything because your condition is false, and so that means your statements will not be executed. But sometimes you want something to be there in else condition. Okay, then if your condition is not true, then something else should be executed. So for that we use another keyword, that is else. So it's like if a is greater than b, then it should print that your a is greater than b, otherwise it should print as document dot write, then it should print as b is greater than a. So if you save it and refresh it, so what it will print, it will print as a is greater than b because your this condition is true, the condition that is in the if statement. Then your only if part will be executed, your else part will be ignored. But if your this condition is false, that means if b is greater than a, that means this condition is false, so if condition will not be executed, it will go to else part over here. So now here this else part will be executed. So let's save it. So now it should print as b is greater than a. So this how your if works and if else will work. But sometimes there is a need that you want some more cases, like c is equal to 20 over here. So if b is greater than a, you want this, but your if else if your a is greater than b, then okay, I'll write it as if a is greater than b, then a is greater than b should print. If your b is greater than a, then b is greater than a should be printed. Or if c is greater than a, Here C is greater than A is printed, but what, according to you, what should be the output? Your output should be C is greater than A, but actually what it will do, it will only check the first statement. If first statement is true, then your all other statements will be ignored. But sometimes we want, it's like we want to print the greatest one. Okay, so if A is greater than B, what it will print, it will print A is greater than B. But now I also want to check that if C is greater than A, then I want to print as document dot C is greater than A over here. So now what it will do, it will print as A is greater than B and your C is greater than A. First what it will do, check this statement. If it is true, then it will go and print this statement, and after that there is another if statement, that is C is greater than A, and then it will, what it will do, it will execute this statement. So this is called your nested if. So your other statements will be ignored, but if you write it as B is greater than A, so this condition is false. B is greater than A, first condition will be false. What it will go to the next else if. So this condition is also false, then it will go to the third condition, that means else if C is greater than A. So your only last condition is true. So what it will print, it will print as C is greater than A, and if your neither condition is true, it will not print anything. So like this your if and if else will work. So you can see that if else if condition is true. Sometimes you can also put that else some default value that you want to print, like if none of the condition is true, then you want to print something. So it won't print anything, it will print it. Save it. Now it will print default because none of the condition is true, so then it will go to the else condition. It will print this because here none of the condition is tested. So this was your if else if nested if, like this. So thanks and have a nice day.